sometimes, we get a bunch of games and we just kind of want to talk about them. So we figured let's just do a quick video where we just kind of quickly tell you our thoughts on a few of the recent games that we got. So these are all games that we picked up in the last kind of month and a half or so, which also will show you that we buy too many games.
I was going to say, we buy too many games if these are all games we got in a month and a half.
Yeah, we do. But we're just going to go through them kind of real quick and talk about our thoughts on some of these are new, some of these are old. There's a real mix. But let's start off here with Radlands, and we made a video on Radlands, so we won't talk about it too much here, but I love it. It's just the art is so pretty. It grabs that. I love Mad Max, and I love anything that's like this kind of like this neon like tank girl class of 1984. Anything that's that kind of style, I'm such a sucker for.
Yeah, it has a great look to it, so that definitely sold us on it. It is definitely one player versus the other person. Your whole goal is to destroy the camps of the other person, which is typically not the kind of game I like, but it is very well executed.
It is, and if you like that one versus one, it's a terrific card game.
Another one that we got recently is this one, So Clover. So it is more cooperative, which is definitely up my alley. And we've been having a lot of fun with this. You get 4 cards that each have 4 words written on each of the sides. And you put it in your Clover to try and have 2 words line up to make something that you would have to give a clue about. And then you have to take all 4 out, add a 5th card. So it's not just deciding which words on those 4 were, but there is also the element of the 5th card, which can certainly throw a spanner in the works to try and match it up. And so we always go for trying to do 2 perfect, complete rounds. And it's gotten quite competitive just with ourselves, but yeah, we always want to try and get that.
We get obsessed with it. We need 2 perfect rounds back to back, and we've played this for hours trying to nail that, and we get to the point of like, why don't you see it? It's so obvious.
But also appreciating when someone really does a very clever clue. Then we do appreciate those.
So that was So Clover, and then the next one, another one that we just made a video for, is Between Two Cities, and we got this because we liked Between Two Castles way more than we expected to. And I gotta say, Between Two Castles is my favorite of the 2, but Between Two Cities, it's a fun, it's a tile placement game. I think Between Two Castles, we're surprised how much we like the 2-player mode. This one is better with more.
Yeah, I think it probably would be better with more. We still have to try it actually with full
All right, so I said that like I was so confident, and then just totally sold me out. But I think it is
maybe at
going to be better with more.
Because the great thing about it is it's so easy to explain. So to have a game that can play up to 7 players, be a legitimate game that's not a party game, and be so quick to pick up and explain to new people, I think it really has a nice spot in the collection for that. And I do like the 2-player variant, which is where we're each building 2 castles. And,
2 cities.
Or 2 cities. I keep getting mixed up between the 2. 2 cities with it. And the expansion, I think, really adds a lot to that. And so I've really been enjoying our plays of these recently.
Yeah, it is fun. And it plays in like 15 minutes. So that's always a selling point.
Another one that we got recently is Season. So this is a bit of an older board game. We started playing it on Board Game Arena, and we played it once there and thought, this is great, let's get it. And I've played it a few times since. I'm honestly still a little bit on the fence about it. I feel like it's a game that you really have to know all of the cards that are included, so that at the beginning of the draft phase, you make the smartest decisions in terms of having your own like tier rank in your mind about which cards you want to take. I basically got destroyed one game. And so since then, I was like, okay, I think there's a lot more strategy based on really knowing what the cards are.
It's got a little bit of the same charm as Res Arcana, where you're trying to do a lot with a little, where you just, start with 9 cards. Although in here you can get more cards, but you don't get that many more. So you already, at the beginning kind of what you're aiming towards, which is cool. And it's got a cool resource management to it as well. I'm with you. I like it. I don't love it yet, but I do like it, and I get why it's so popular. Another one I want to talk about, and this is it's G.I. Joe. And growing up, this is the only toy I collected. I feel like, I don't know if other folks had this sort of childhood, but it was like, I did G.I. Joe. I had one friend who did Transformers. I had one friend who did Star Wars. I had one friend who did WWE, and that's all we needed. We had everything covered. Oh, I had a friend who did He-Man too. We had it all covered, but I was the G.I. Joe guy. And I had G.I. Joe birthday parties, G.I. Joe everything, wore camouflage all the time, loved it. And this does a really good job of capturing the feel. The rule book's terrible. If you look on BGG, you will find half the threads about that. They're true. It is, but you can figure it out from it. It's not as terrible as people say. And there are some decent videos about how to play as well. And yeah, I think it's a pretty fun co-op.
I know nothing about G.I. Joe. And when we started playing, I was calling everything the wrong thing, not on purpose. I didn't know the world at all. But it's cooperative, and it's a cooperative deck building game. And so I love co-op games. I love deck builders. And again, I just love the two of us trying to take down who's
it's Cobra.
Cobra.
She knows nothing about G.I. Joe. It's heartbreaking.
But I like the game. It's fun to cooperatively try and take down Cobra.
All right, let's move on.
So another new to us game is, this one is Bitoku. And so we had heard a lot of talk about it because I think it was one of the hit games that came out at Essen last year or something along those lines. It looks amazing. So it has such a beautiful look to it. And it is dice placement. So you have these dice that you're putting out to perform your actions, and the pip value of the dice determines which actions you can do. And then you throughout the game, you have to try and like increase the pip values and try and maximize that. And the more we play it, the more strategies are like coming, because the first time we played it, but then once we realized that we can almost block the other person out, that introduced like a whole other element, but not enough. Like I never feel like I don't get to do anything.
Yeah, you can just creatively, when you're putting out your dice on this one, there's a lot of rows. There's a lot of options in this game. Although it's a lot simpler than it looks at first. The board at first is a bit overwhelming. It's not that, it's whelming once you get used to it. But you can be very strategic with it. And it's beautiful. It's a lot of fun. It's I like games where, you know, the different gears are moving each other, and it really has that feel to it.
And I do feel like there's so many different paths you can do. I never feel like I get to do everything that I want to do, which is a really good feeling in a game, because you have to prioritize, and I've tried different priorities each time.
Well, moving on. The next one we are talking about is the newest of the Unmatched series. This is Battle of Legends Volume 2, and it's got Bloody Mary, Sun Wukong, who's the Monkey King, Achilles, and Yanenga. And honestly, the only one I was really excited for here was Bloody Mary. And she has not won a game. She is not that good. And it is good. Like, it's the other three are all pretty solid, and I think probably Bloody Mary is too if I like learn to play with her. But I gotta say, I feel like maybe I've kind of like hit my limit of Unmatched, of like how many characters I needed.
Yeah, I have really liked playing with Sun Wukong and Yanenga. Both of them I actually had a lot of fun playing with, and I think it helped that I win both those times. But we don't often play 1v1 games a lot, and we already have a whole bunch of Unmatched. So we don't know how often we're really going to get a chance to play with these.
Yeah, we do play 1v1 games. There's something about the just like straight up kind of
combat kind of games.
Straight up combat-y games, and we like Unmatched. We've got a video about Unmatched, and I really like it. I like the collecting it, but I don't know, there's something about this one where I'm just not as drawn to the whole thing. I like Bloody Mary though. The figure looks amazing. She's just hard to use. You got to keep like 3 cards in your hand, and that's tough to do in this game, to time that perfectly. And Sun Wukong's clones are good, but I haven't got to use them yet because Jess loves them. So she's him all the time and just destroying me with them.
Yeah, he's great. All right, another one that we got recently is this one. So we got the Isle of Cats expansion, and we had thrown in this Explore and Draw. So it's an Isle of Cats in this case, flip and write game. And it's been so much fun. We've played this at least half a dozen times. You do columns of cats, and then you have to pick which column you want, and it might include cats, treasures, or lessons. And then you draw it on your boat. And both of us are terrible at drawing.
Drawing the cats is the most, because you're not supposed to. Like, it doesn't show that you're supposed to draw the cats, but we started doing it, and now we do it every time, and we've got to fit the cats into the weird shapes, and we can't draw cats just like given a full piece of paper. I can't draw a cat. So fitting it into a tiny little Tetris shape is not going to happen. But when we got the Kickstarter, so we got this with the Kickstarter expansions, and this was kind of I guess we'll get this. Two, I think we've played with the expansions once. We liked them fine, but we've played this. This is the star of the show, and this is almost like replaced Isle of Cats for us. Like, I really like this game.
It's so much fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Next one up, this one's a little divisive between us, is Mind Management, and I really like it. It is a secret movement game. Someone's behind a screen and they're secretly moving around trying to recruit people to their evil thing. And then the other person is like rogue agents. I haven't read the Mind Management comics, so I don't really understand the backstory, but I love the art. It is so crazy and messy, and I love comic books in general, so this is really kind of hitting my sweet spot, I think, of like the weird abstractness of the art and the feel of it all. And I've never really played secret movement games. I'd never really played Scotland Yard even, so
it is interesting too, because there are these boxes that you get to open, so you are kind of meant to play one game after another. So if the recruiter wins, then the rogue agents would get a box to open, and vice versa. So it does try and balance it out. I've been am I the agents? Is that
yeah, you've been the agents.
I'm not very good at finding the recruiter. I've opened a lot of boxes, and maybe we do have to switch roles. Maybe that's what's going to win me over, because if you are trying to find the person who's hiding, it requires a lot of patience. On your turn, you really have to try and put all of the information that you've collected so far together and really do some deductions. And I kind of take a look and do what I can and then just go for it, which hasn't paid off yet.
I think it might be more fun with more as well, like if you feel like you're more of a team against the recruiter, because it is really meant to be a one versus everybody.
Yeah.
We're just playing a one versus one, so it is kind of, we're just quietly hiding and chasing. And I think if you're a team working together, it'd probably be more fun on that side.
Yeah, many heads would be able to find those clues and make those deductions a little bit better, I think.
But man, the style of this, if you're into comic books, you're gonna just love how it looks. And
all right,
I think we got one more.
Yeah, one more game that we got recently. Like we said, we got a lot of
yesterday.
games.
We got it very recently.
Yeah, so full disclosure, we have only played this once. So we did set it up and play through it yesterday. This is the third of the Red Raven trilogy, and so we already have Above and Below and Near and Far. We were really excited about this to see how it plays, and I really like it. It's one of the main complaints is it's a bit long. And our first game, it definitely went long. But each season, you are moving your characters along the board, and you are either killing monsters or recruiting villagers or completing quests. And I really felt like it was an adventure. I had a great time playing it and having this adventure, and we took very different routes. I was all about slaying the monsters. You had a very completed town with your buildings. So I am looking forward to playing more.
Is there I don't think it's called the Red Raven trilogy. I think that's just the publisher.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it has the Arzium Storybook trilogy is the official name. Yeah, and I did like it. I've got to say, and we talked about right after our first play, which is our favorite of the trilogy, how do we rank them? And for me right now, Near and Far is still the top one. This does knock out Above and Below, but this is definitely the bigger game. I think one of the trickies, especially in the first play, is it's a bit of a sandbox, so you can do a lot. And when you start in the town, it's kind of like you have almost too many options. And so I think after we've played a few times, it will get quicker and those options will make more sense to us. And it is good. It takes a bit of learning. The rulebook's great. All of his rulebooks are always very good, and it still is. It's just that there's a lot of moving parts, so you got to kind of get your head around that. I think after a few games, I think we will like it more and more, and I'm interested to know if it moves up or down. But I was happy to play it the first time.
Yeah, and definitely looking forward to playing this more. And so those were some of the games that we got recently.
Yeah, and that was it really. So don't put a lot of stock into those reviews because that is very much some of those games we've only played a couple times, especially that in the Unmatched expansion. We've barely scratched the surface, but we just thought, you know what, it'd be great to just put something out there where we're just kind of quickly giving our early thoughts on stuff we've just got that's kind of backlogged, and then we'll be less stressed about getting the full videos out too.
Exactly. Please do share in the comments any recent games that you've played that you've enjoyed as well, or if you played any of the ones that we've played as well. All of that really helps us out. Do let us know if you like this new format too.
And yeah, hopefully we will see you again soon. Thanks a lot.